All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the VUX World podcast. Very quickly before we begin, I need to tell you about a webinar that we have coming up with Cresta. Myself and Alan Ranger, who is a legend in this space, will be getting into the contact center 3.0. What is the contact center 3.0? When AI is part of the fabric of the contact center, what does that mean for your operation? What does that mean for your staff? What does that mean for the customer experience? And how can you set yourself up for success in 2026 and beyond? So if you are interested in that, there's going to be a free report that you will get if you register, or when you register, the CX workforce report. And also, if you join the webinar and stick around till the end, which I'm sure you will want to do anyway, because it's going to be highly entertaining and enjoyable and informative. But if you do that, you are in with a shout of winning a pair of AirPods as well. So do register for that. It's coming up in September. So the link is vux.ai/3.0. vux.ai/3.0. And we look forward to seeing you there. And speaking of Cresta, I am joined right now by Cresta CEO Ping Wu. Ping, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. So for those that don't know Cresta, they're going to learn a lot about Cresta over the next kind of couple of weeks, because obviously we've got the webinar coming up. But for those that are not familiar, tell us a little bit about Cresta. What is Cresta and what do you guys do?
Yeah, Cresta, we're a AI platform for customer experience. Think about us as a AI operating system for your customer experience. From the beginning, interacting with customer with self-serve channels like AI agents with automating interactions. To if the interaction needs to hit the humans, we also have the AI assistants that are helping the humans in real time, making them more efficient, more effective. Across all channels, email, digital, and call centers. And then as well as Cresta have the data platform that really driving the insights, analyzing all these interactions, and then to helping the workforce getting better through quality management and coaching and training, as well as collecting the customer feedback on the other side of the conversation with deep insights about the customers. So all these things form one platform, sharing the same context layer, sharing the same memories, and then forming the feedback loops.
Interesting. So I always thought Cresta was more of a kind of conversational intelligence platform, but it's hearing you've also got the AI agents on the front end as well. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. We started actually as a AI assistant for chat channel for sales only. And over years, we expanded into a full-blown platform. The agent assist actually now all the different channels across all use cases, from revenue use cases to care, and then also expanding to conversation intelligence, quality management. And then 2 years ago, we expanded the platform now into automation with AI agents. And our AI agent business has grown very, very well. It's 5x year over year. And then we're already launching voice front door to some of the leading brands in the world, including some Fortune 500 companies.
Nice. That's a hell of a journey. And so you were previously at Google, had a lot of experience working on Google CC AI, as it was called then. I think it's been a few iterations and rebrands since then. And Vertex AI. Tell us a bit about your time at Google and how or if and whether that inspired what you're now doing then at Cresta.
Right. So I spent 14 years at Google before Cresta. So most relevant, around a decade ago, I joined. So 2017, I joined GCP Cloud AI at the time. So it's also very early in AI transformation. That was before LLMs. And at the time, the team was very small. I was very fortunate to start two efforts. One is now known as Contact Center AI Platform, or Gemini Enterprise Customer Experience Suite. And then the other one is Vertex AI that started as AutoML product suites and then evolving into a full-blown platform. So very fortunate to lead both organization and both products. But I'm particularly passionate about the impact of AI in customer experience. And it's just very obvious to me, 2017, that deep learning at that time already solved computer vision and make huge progress in traditional machine learning tasks that all seem like using different paradigm before deep learning, but all kind of fitting into one paradigm. And then, but at that time, 2017 wasn't very clear that deep learning will crack human language. It's very messy, and people still using, now looking back, very preliminary encoding methods to failing to capture the semantic meanings. But it's just feel inevitable for me that when deep learning and AI really crack natural language and conversations, the call centers and the customer experience will be the place where you have the biggest impact, because everything seems like not that doing that well. Like people are frustrated, and then they have to wait for a long time in the queue. There's not enough intelligence, like not enough compute really in the current call center that's really powered by humans. And then call center agents frustrated, attrition rate is very high, and business constantly want to improve the cost and then moving job offshores. And so there's really a lot of pain in that particular domain, and then it's a huge market. So that's how we started the contact center AI platform. And then it's still doing very, very well. But after 5 years, I just feel that's around 2021. I feel like this area will be a huge opportunity. And at that time, Transformers already launched and announced, and then it was before GPT-3, but I feel like the timing is right, and then this area is going to explode. And then, then around that time, Sequoia led the first round, Series B into Cresta, and then I get to know the founders, and then very connected, and then on the vision. So that's why I joined, and I really want to, at that time, just shipping faster in a small environment and be able to focus on solving this AI for customer experience problem. So that's how I left Google and joined Cresta 5 years ago. And then I became CEO, very fortunately, three and a half years ago. And then the rest is history.
So they say. That's interesting, because, Google it sounds as though, hearing about what Cresta is now and does now, it sounds as though Google's contact center AI it kind of tried to do that. And I obviously, I don't want to speak sort of ill about your previous employer, but it never seemed to me as though it ever really got off the ground. It all seemed a bit disparate. It had agent assist tools over here, then it had Dialogflow CX over there, then it had Insights product over here, and you can tell by all the rebranding that goes on. It's only just been rebranded again from CX to conversational agents, and then again to the agent platform, whatever. And they've got the ADK and stuff. So it all seemed a bit like, at the time, seemingly, I think probably when you were working there, the idea was there, but the execution, because I don't really hear a lot of companies that use Google CCAI, and so it seems as though Cresta is almost like fitting into that space. Holistic vision, holistic platform, automation on the front end, agent assist, conversational intelligence, all of the reporting that comes with it. It's almost like the version of CCAI that Google CCAI was sort of intending to be in the first place, but didn't quite make it there. I wonder if that was kind of like an inspiration in terms of trying to realize that vision, so to speak. Would that be fair or not?
But I will say that Google is a great company. I left the company 5 years ago, so there are a lot of developments in the company that I do not know much about and that I cannot comment on. But I always think that the mission of my journey, the vision has always been the same for 9 years, is to using AI to really truly transform customer experience. Means truly transform customer experience. I mean, it cannot be a siloed automation solution somewhere and then forget about the human operation, which is majority of the customer experience. It cannot be just a siloed conversation intelligence space that's only analyzing human conversation without letting that feedback loop get into making the automation better. To me, it's always one unified platform that having the data compound by itself. There's so much feedback loop that you need to capture in the customer experience to make your operation better. So there's so much, for example, there's so much information in the customer conversations. Now LLMs get to the point that you can really extract the root cause and making operation better, making your products better so that people do not even call in, and identify key behaviors to make your human workforce better. And that's another feedback loop. And also, more importantly, there's so much tribal knowledge and in the contact center, that only in people's head, that's only locked in the conversations, and there's so many process knowledge that's only in the screen recordings, in the browser interactions that a lot of time not documented, not updated anywhere. So you have the fortune to actually capture all that, and then that will use to automate away the repetitive part of the jobs that should be automated and can be automated. So all these things to me just must to be in one place. So that has always been the strategy that Cresta has been executing on.
Wow. So am I understanding it correctly then, which is that the platform also looks at the screen of the agent to figure out what's going on a process level, and then is able to either automate that process based on what it sees or improve it based on the waste it identifies? Am I understanding that correctly, that it's not just audio and conversations, It's also the screen?
Yeah, we actually, screen recording is part of our offering for compliance and for quality management, as you probably know. If you really want to manage your workforce and do quality management, there are a lot of times just required you capture the screen and capture what actually people are doing, and sometimes you even want to QA based on their action on the screen. So these are part of the product. But also a byproduct is that now you can also analyze how people use the computer screen to understand what actually, for each individual on the workforce level, you can see that why people are slow, why certain group of human agents, what they're struggling with, what they're not be able to find, what part of process that they need to improve, that's part of the coaching product. And there are opportunity to discover actually the processes that then you can create what we call ambient agents. Those are not customer interaction agents, but those are agents that work alongside of humans and then can take away repetitive tasks. So just there's call center is a very interesting type of job. Kane, is that it's the only place where you actually are required to record everything. And there's just a lot of opportunity to use that and improve the workforce, improve the overall efficiency, and then improve the coaching efficiency.
Absolutely. That's brilliant, that. And how much of kind of like those benefits, because I think that what you're saying is entirely, well-founded in terms of the contact center is a place that is just absolutely full of data. Within the interactions that you have with customers, you've got knowledge there that the agents haven't written down anywhere. And through the screen recording, you can see the reality of what's actually happening rather than what the agents will tell you is happening if you ask them, how does this process go?
Right.
So in order to do something about that, there needs to be the next step, doesn't it? Which is the data's there. The data can then be analyzed, aggregated, and kind of like reported on in terms of here's an insight. But then it's the next step of doing something about it. So I wonder whether you can share a little bit in terms of, because often with technology platforms and stuff like that, is they tend to take you all the way to the door, but it needs the skills and the methodology and the judgment of the people using the tool to open the door and get them through. So I wonder if you can talk to me a little bit about where does the Cresta kind of platform sort of begin and end, and then where does the human judgment in terms of what to do with those insights and all that kind of stuff, where does that begin? Or can you just walk us through how that sort of looks, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. From the beginning, there's, as you mentioned, there's raw data, right? And then raw data, there are two forms. One is capture at rest in batch. The other one is in streaming, real time. So the insights you can derive from both. And, for example, we have recently launched this product called Real Time Trends. Think about like the Twitter surge in topics before customer experience. So there's a lot of those action, especially for time sensitive type of operations like airlines and the cruise lines or travel hospitality related. You have to react in real time. And these are the insights that we actually surface. That also requires some sort of aggregation, but it's not like you aggregate multiple days, right? And that is real time. And then for the data that in the raw form, and then to distill into insights. There are all kind of different insights. The insights about your operations, what things are broken, what are the things that, the interaction that can be avoided, and you want to eliminate a call by fixing problems. There are insights around how your workforce is performing and how do you coach them better, and each individual, what's the strengths and weaknesses of them. And then there's also insights around, those process tribal knowledge about, then you can improve with automation. So each one of them, then you build another layer of products that is really turning all these insights within the same platform into actions, right? And then I mentioned about the workforce related insights, QA, coaching, and then now even Cresta training are the set of products that turn those insights into actions, right? Training, for example, we just launched Training Simulator. It's now marrying the QA status with an AI agent platform. What does that mean is that supervisors are always struggling to find the right conversation and then to do the right role play conversation practice with the human agents. And then, it's a scarcity. You don't have the data, you don't have the time. Now we use AI agent to do those mock kind of interviews. If I know, Kane, you're struggling on this particular knowledge point, and then I'm, as an AI agent, I will pretend to be a caller that will test you and on that particular knowledge, all in the natural form of actually how that call will look like in the real call. Again, we have all the data. And then if it is coaching an opportunity, and that will automatically surface through all these conversations where this particular agents are struggling in terms of certain data points or skills, and then so the coach can coach. And then for the automation piece, you also have a lot of insights about the process, about cluster of the, for certain intent, what are the steps that agents are taking. Actually, you do not even need to rely on SOPs, and then you can just rely on what actually seen on the ground truth is the source of truth, is how agents behaving. And then you take that process data, and then now you go to Cresta AI agent platform, you can turn that into a almost 85% done AI agent. Then you can start simulating and testing it, have a conversation with it. So there's, as you can see, there's always these feedback loops from the raw data to insights, and then to actually the product for you to take actions. So I firmly believe that it's work best if all in one platform, so that you can harnessing all these feedback loops and then improve the overall operation. I can give you another example. None of the Fortune 500 company we spoke to have up-to-date knowledge base. It's very hard to maintain a knowledge base, and usually it's across multiple replicas. They have inconsistency, they have duplicate content, and they have questions that people come in that's new, that does not have answering knowledge base, or the answer is out of date. And then now with the source of truth, which is the human conversation, if you cluster them, and then you can find the experts, how they say are, in aggregate are different from the knowledge base. And then that can allow you to form the feedback loop that using AI to curate your knowledge base and assisting the curation process. And by the way, you also have the screen for those troubleshooting step by step. And you can really creating those knowledge, authoring the knowledge articles that even with the screenshots that pointing people like what are the steps. So all these are just examples on how you turn data into insights and then into actions, and all within the same platform. That has always been my belief that, now we're building our Cresta.
That's brilliant. That touches on one of the conversations I was having recently with Paul Atkins from Simply Health on a previous podcast, which is around, we were talking about how this whole idea of sort of like knowledge management has always existed, but now with AI agents, it's even more important, and what is that platform that brings all that knowledge together, deduplicates it, finds the source of truth, keeps it up to date, keeps it kind of iterating over time and stuff like that. And it's almost like we were talking about how potentially that's like a new role for somebody or a team, making sure that all that content's up to date. But the missing piece there, which is really interesting, is how you're able to use active conversations to get at the content, to then extract it from the conversations and then put it into the knowledge base. Because that's the big thing, and the big thing that's missing, as we've kind of alluded to, but I think loads of contact centers will appreciate this, is that there's always a handful of people who've been there for 10 years and they just know it. They know the process back to front. They know the thing to try, what doesn't work, and it's always just trapped inside their head. So I think it's a good observation, that I've been able to get into the conversations, get the knowledge out, and then use that as a source of populating or keeping the knowledge base up to date. That's brilliant.
Right, 100%. Oh, thank you. I think that fundamentally what's missing in contact center or customer experience operation historically is lack of compute.
Yeah.
Lack of compute. It's compute seems like a computer term, but if you think about human brain, it's a carbon-based compute. It's really, and then it's not very easy to scale up. And you probably know humans are really good at doing a lot of things, but are not really good at doing some other things. And then especially not very scalable, not elastically scalable. Like you cannot have 10,000 humans immediately overnight and then shut it down. And then AI, LLM-based compute, silicon compute kind of solve that. But then the other one is the process knowledge, tribal knowledge. That part is missing. Now, you really, once you have the LLM compute, now you can harnessing the implicit intelligence that, output from the human actually doing the work. And call center is the only place where you're allowed to watch how human do the work and listen to how they do the work. And without them actually do a separate session teaching you what's the latest knowledge. The best way to capture that intelligence is really just watching it and why they're actually doing it. And call center is the only place that, in my view, that you can actually do it. So that's why we start with call centers.
I think that's a brilliant way of analyzing it in terms of lacking compute. LLMs give you the compute, and then the other thing is the process. Now, let's take that to a kind of like a practical example. Let's say that I have a call center, I've got kind of like 100 agents or so. I deal with X thousand calls a week or a month or what have you. And I think that the trap that I observe businesses getting stuck in is, let's say when it comes to like building an AI agent, they'll say, right, well, we'll just grab our data and we'll throw a model at it, and whatever the user says, we'll just throw the model at the data and we'll answer whatever it is. And sometimes you get lucky and it's right. Sometimes you get unlucky and it's a hallucination. Sometimes you get even more unlucky and the experience is just generally a bit horrible. But I think there's a perception there that we don't have to worry about the detail because we've just got data and we've got a model. So take that same sort of mentality to a call center where you're dealing with tens of thousands of calls, hundreds of thousands of calls a month. And within all of that, you've got so varied in terms of customer needs. So how would a contact center kind of like leader or someone that's using the Cresta platform, where would they start in trying to get through 100,000 calls worth of activity and deciding where they should focus? Because they've got hundreds of processes, hundreds of agents, and it can all feel a little bit too much. So like, I appreciate in terms of the capability, and I think I'm aligned in terms of everything that we've been speaking about so far. But how do you take scale and try and distill that scale into something that's actionable for clients?
Yeah, so Cresta is an AI transformation journey. It's sometimes I joke with the team, it's almost like a bus loop in an airline. So you can get on Cresta product in any stop. You can start with conversation intelligence, you can start with agent assist, but agent assist, again, they capture the conversation real time, and then you can go to conversation intelligence, or you can start with AI agent, but then we can do some bootstrapping, analyzing your data. But to answer your first question, the ideal way to start is really to start with the data, to look at the source of truth, right? And I think your question is about, what are the things to automate? What are the things, you have millions or tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of calls and over a year, and then you have a lot of humans. And then the first is analyzing data. Cresta Insights is really for analyzing it from so many different angles. You can cluster them, you can tag them, you can track them, you can ask natural language question of it. But my view is that the step-by-step is really to identify the bucket of conversation. We have this mental model of 4 buckets of conversations. So for the first bucket is the conversation that should not happen in the first place. These are the ones that once you cluster it, very easy to find out what are the things that should be eliminated with a process improvement. So the way that you kind of make sense out of unstructured conversation is really trying to structure it. The way you structure it is you can either through unsupervised clustering or through predicted CSATs, or you try to tag them with structure labels, like the average handle time, the sentiment, and at the high level. And of course, you have semantic clustering, and then you have call reason extraction. You have predictive CSATs, and all that can allow you to then partition them in the pile of things that make sense. So you can then first attack the bucket that should not even happen. That usually give you process information about why people are confused, what are the operation, process the broken. Maybe there's improvement you can make on the mobile apps that can eliminate a lot of calls. So we're doing that with many of our largest customer. They're able to drive down some of the call driver by 50% in terms of call volume. And then the second bucket is the one that we think that should be automated and will be automated eventually. And then for those, you're looking for an ordered list of call reasons that need to be large enough call volume, and then ideally simple enough in terms of the call and the resolution rate. And then these are the ones that tend to be simple in nature. And then of course you always want to have the biggest impact, but with the least, kind of the lowest hanging fruit, and then kind of sort them. And then for each one of them, then as Cresta I just mentioned, you can extract the process knowledge, you can extract step-by-step type of what actually humans are doing, then you can turn those into AI agent. That will be automation blueprint, and then that will be your automation journey. And then the last piece is the ones that we can automate part of the conversation. Like it was after call summaries, the pre-call or summaries, contact setting, or piece of those like form filling or logging to multiple systems. Like we need to identify that and then build what I love to call ambient agent. Those are agents that ambient listening, but they actually wake up when certain trigger happens, and then they can do a bunch of things and then go back to sleep. And then those are automating part of it. And if it's a sales conversation, then again, it's not about automating away the labor, but rather focus on the overall output of the call centers. For those, the analyze and the step is a little different. You want to find the winning behaviors that correlate with, the better outcome. And then a lot of those sales conversation, you have the outcome, whether the transaction happened or didn't happen. And then you can use that and then to coach and the QA and then training your large group of call center sales. Hope that makes sense. Like, for each different type of use case, you can kind of have this step-by-step journey, starting with analyzing the data and then get to actions and how do you improve the call center, improve the entire customer experience operation.
Brilliant. That's really good. And then final question is, how would I implement this within a contact center? So I've got a contact center provider, I've got a CCaaS provider, all my calls go through there, I've got kind of like IVR on the front end of it, all that kind of stuff. I'm interested in everything that we've heard in this conversation so far. Obviously, Cresta needs to get data from the contact center, and presumably with agent assist and stuff like that, and these ambient agents, you need to have a way of I suppose, having a presence maybe inside the contact center. So how does that interlink work? Yeah,
so Cresta peacefully coexist with all the existing systems, the system record system and CCaaS platforms. We get into audio stream, again, for agent assist to work, you need to listen to the call, right? And then we have many different ways to how to get to audio stream. We can even tap into the desktop audio driver to get the audio. Anything that human can hear, we should be able to hear. And also that's another way we can capture all the data and then doing the analytics piece. But overall, it's a fairly straightforward integration, and then we also integrate with some of the on-premise hard phone kind of call centers. So over the last 5 years, we have integrated with so many different existing call centers. But again, we kind of is intelligence layer sitting on top of existing operation, and without actually replacing the CCaaS or system record, and we coexist with those. And then for AI agent, it's a type of different integration. It's sometimes it's SIP, sometimes it's PSTN redirect, or sometimes it's just natively API integration through the cloud. And then for the analytics piece, if you're already using Agent Assist, we kind of capture the conversation real time. But if it's not, then there's many other ways for us to get the data in the batch, or again, integrating into the CCaaS. So more and more CCaaS platforms are really taking the open ecosystem approach, and then we're very working very friendly with many of them.
Oops, I was on mute there. Fantastic. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. Thanks for your time. That's a really good overview there. I think that as I sort of alluded to at the beginning of the conversation, you know, I've kind of come across a lot of different sort of like platforms that do bits of this. Obviously, there's a lot of AI agent building platforms out there. There's a lot of kind of conversation intelligence platforms out there. There's a lot of kind of dedicated agent assist platforms out there. It's the holistic kind of viewpoint, I think, that hasn't quite been cracked yet. And I know that, as I mentioned at the beginning, Google CCAI was kind of trying to get there. In my experience and experience of companies that were kind of close to it, it didn't quite have that holistic, integrated, kind of like one horizontal platform fabric type of approach, which it sounds like you have. So it's it's a really interesting idea, and appreciate you sharing the story with me.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kane, and for the opportunity. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Wicked, likewise. So what I'll do is I'll put the link to the webinar in the show notes, vux.ai/3.0. That's the webinar we've got coming up with Alan Ranger from Cresta in a couple of weeks' time. If you want to go and check out Cresta in the meantime, cresta.com, cresta.com. And perhaps, Ping, if you're okay with it, I might put your LinkedIn in there as well. I know you're quite active on LinkedIn. You do quite a bit on there.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you so much, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you again on the next one. Thanks now. Bye.